What is up, riders? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another Yamaha BWS. We're going to do some cool stuff to this one, stretch it, make it look good, put on a sick new shock, and yeah, it's going to be a sick build. So this BWS probably doesn't look very familiar, but if you do follow us on Instagram, you will have seen maybe a picture of this one. I believe maybe the exhaust pipe will give it away. We've got this awesome Pinkus wrapped with the carbon on the can, and this was posted to our Instagram in black. Since then, the owner has wrapped it in a Supreme color scheme. So if you don't follow us on Instagram and you want to be kept up to date with any builds that we're doing behind the scenes, go follow us in the links down below. Let's strip it down.
Alrighty, so we're gonna basically just pull the motor out as it is. Chocks loose, anything that's like attached to the chassis.
So we pulled the engine, and you can see now we've just balanced it on a scissor jack. The reason why we don't have the center stand on this one is because the exhaust manifold doesn't allow for this to run the center stand, so we're just going to work on it like this. So what we're going to do next is pull out the circlips over here, pull this out because this is going to get replaced, and then we're going to have to do some filing down here. So let's get on to that. Alright, so now we are moving on to the extended swing arm part, and first things first, we got to start with these spacers. This is where your circlips are going to sit. So let's start pre-assembling this. We've also got instruction manual, so we're going to follow this and yeah, make sure everything goes in smoothly. Okay, so I know we've done the other video. If you haven't checked that one out of our personal BWS, check it up in the pop-up above. But as you can see, we need to make another hole. So the bracket needs to sit like this. So what we've done is we've just punched a hole right there, made sure everything's lined up perfectly. We're gonna have to drill a hole so we can put the proper mount in it. Okay, we are back and we are in a new location. So we are going to continue with this build. And yeah, this is our new workshop. So if you haven't been following us on Instagram, go give us a follow. You'll get all the updates. So we've managed to mount the engine up and we've got the brackets in. How far we've gotten so far is we've put in this top performance 360-degree intake manifold. So we're going to be putting this on with the carburetor facing forward, and we'll do the air intake over here. So this is the carb we're going to be using. This is the Malossi PHVB 22mm. We always install this on our BWSs, so you can check that out in most of our builds. And then we are also going to be putting on a Malossi cone filter. This is a black one with a shroud, so we'll be putting that on facing forward. Okay, so we are getting some extra length here because as you can see, okay, that's already a lot better, but the battery box was in the way. So we're going to try and reroute this throttle cable so we can get more slack and this can fit. I mean, right now it's fitting perfectly, but once we put the battery box in, it's going to be tight. We also don't want to turn the steering and then it pulls tight. So we want to make sure we've got enough slack.
What I've done now is because we're at the coast and we're literally like on the coast, we're going to be running the richer settings on the carburetor. So we fit in this needle with I can't go in the middle. So we've only got 4 settings. So I'm going to go slightly raised. So I'm going to go a little bit on the richer side instead of the leaner side. And then the next thing I'll do is I'm going to take the carburetor and open it up and see what jetting is in there, and then go for the biggest main jet. Also because we're running the pod filter, not the standard airbox. So I'm going to basically start right on the rich side and then we'll do some testing and then we'll go and adjust it from there.
Right, the Malossi carburetor is on and the intake, and I think it looks quite sick. So you can check from the side, pipe, okay, you can't really see it. But what we're gonna do now is, because this is now facing forward and we've shifted everything, we wanna see if this clears the seat box, and if not, we may need to make a little modification. So we're gonna mock up everything now and see if we need to cut. So just out, you can see by so much. So we might have to just make a slight adjustment.
So we can have the carb top come through,
Yeah.
but the cable runs through here
To
again,
the drain.
to out.
Yeah, that will work. Okay, so it looks like everything's fitting down here. We need to do some testing, so we're going to put obviously the floorboard on and ride it like this to see. But a few things to note, as well as the throttle cable that we needed to reroute, the oil pump cable had to just be slightly rerouted around the bottom. And then as you can see, the spark plug is not really going to reach right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the aftermarket ignition coil, which is going to have a longer lead, and then we'll put the waterproof plug back on here. So that's what we're going to do next. So we're back at this point. We've gotten all the plastics back on. We've rerouted most of the cables, pipes, and made sure everything clears. So what we're going to do now is just start the bike, set up the carb, make sure everything's running good. And one last thing that we needed to do was just adjust the rear brake. So we're going to do that now, but we also preloaded the shock so we don't touch. Depending on the weight, we might have to cut this later. But for now, let's finish the carb and then see how this thing rides. Cool, so test ride, got a few tweaks that we need to do. Firstly, the back brake has gone now under the cylinder. So we need to just reroute that, because when you tap off or when you brake, it kind of pulls the back brake, being a cable brake. And then it's feeling like a little bit too rich. So we're gonna lean it out with the needle, going with the thicker needle so that we can try and just get the settings perfectly. Hopefully that will sort it out. Okay, it is a little bit later, but we've got the new cable. So we're going to fit this now. It's 135 mils longer, which is pretty much bolt to bolt, center to center, the extended swing arm, if you wanted to know. So we're going to quickly put that in there, put it back together, and then tomorrow we can check out.
You're going to hang like under.
Yeah. All back together. It's hard to tell what it looks like on camera, but looking good. So we're gonna check you in the morning when we can park this thing outside and get some sick B-roll.